back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to do an update to the video I covered earlier, which is titled, Wife Blows a Gasket After Husband Wants Divorce Upon Learning Her Dorm Room Was a Sausage Factory. And I shout out to all you guys, let me know there's an update to this whole thing. And as a recap, that's about the husband who's been married to his wife for 20 years, 2 kids, late teens. A long story short, they were together at a party with some of her college friends and all, and it got out after some drinking that his wife was very adventurous the first couple of years of school, but the thing was, he was in a relationship with her, except she made out to be that they weren't in a relationship, and she was quite the sausage queen, if you will, of her dorm, like I said, and now he wants to divorce her. And of course, as you all recall, she's making him out to be the bad guy here, like it was no big deal, it was back in the day, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're going to see in this update here, there's a lot more going on, as you can imagine. She obviously knew what she was doing, and our guy's handling things right. And you do recall that it was one of her friends, so-called friends, well, a friend of the husband, and let him know that there was a lot more going on than what she was saying. Because she admitted, she was like, well, it was like 10 guys. Well, her friend said it was a lot more than 10 guys, and also she introduced him to some of those guys, and one was even a part of their friend group. No joke here. Now, for the update here, it's going to be 2 actual updates he did about how things are going, as well as I was able to find more details in the comments section, because it is quite a lot. And our guy, at the end of this story, you guys will be proud of our guy here. So, his saga continues. He says, I want to provide some updates here, as my original post got a lot of traction. First off, let's talk about the things I learned about the situation in college. After talking to my wife in sessions and texting with 2 of her roommates, it's clear that her roommates knew something was up in college. Shocker. They said they thought the situation was weird and likely involved cheating. But did they really care back then, 20-some years ago? My wife had told me that we both had some wild times in college, or she told them both that we had some wild times in college, and worked it out before we got married, so they never really brought it up. The roommate who pulled me aside recently was uncomfortable with the fact that my wife clearly didn't talk it through with me and wanted me to know. Well, that says something about the character of that girl, if this is in fact true. You know, for all we know, they could have cooked this whole thing up. Think about it, guys. I mean, I really thought about this afterwards. They could have planned the whole thing to let him accidentally hear this, right? And then, you know, these friends of hers let him know some information, and he then wants to initiate the divorce, and she could put it all on him, even though maybe she wanted the divorce all along. I mean, one has to speculate here. You never know. Anyhow, as far as being introduced to the guy she slept with, apparently that was not intended. For one of the guys, he ended up dating and then marrying one of our mutual friends from college. This is the guy she was in contact with. In the other situations, she initially blamed me in the counseling session, but has now agreed it was bad. Hear that? Initially, she stuck to that, blaming him. Nope, you're the jerk that's divorcing me. We weren't together. They were together. When I went to visit her, she planned to hang out in the room or just hang out together alone. But I wanted to go to a few parties because in high school and community college, I didn't really have parties to go to. He's reflecting on the past, guys. She didn't expect me to meet the guys, but they were at the parties, and she felt she didn't really have a choice. I still think this is kind of shitty, but it's not as bad as her intentionally parading me around in front of the guys. I'm not sure if I believe that, gentlemen, and I'm sure you guys probably don't either. Remember, she's now covering her tracks. She realizes her goose is cooked and he's divorcing her, so now she wants to obviously, okay, I'll give him something here, but I wouldn't put it past her to deliberately parade him around, you know. Most of our discussion in therapy has been talking about why I think it's a big deal, and she doesn't. Duh, it's kind of obvious. She initially said that none of these guys were in relationships with her, and it was mostly one-night stands or friends with benefits. Oh, that makes it all better. And yet, she was in a relationship. Since she didn't view them as romantic relationships, she didn't see it as a big deal. Her words, not mine. Shocker. My opinion is that we never said that it was okay, and she actively prevented me from doing the same. After digging into this across 2 sessions, and my wife talking with some friends, she now agrees that it was a breach of our trust and relationship. Look at all what it took for her to finally admit that she was in the wrong. This is the shared understanding that has helped us talk about the situation more honestly, and helped us from arguing to talking, which is why I'm optimistic about co-parenting. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, brother. Now here's why I'm 100% set on divorce. Two things came up that make me want to leave the marriage. First thing, about 10 years ago, we went through a really rough patch and had a dead bedroom for about 2 years. Here we go. She had expressed that our sex life was becoming boring, so I tried to spice things up. Nothing crazy, just role-playing like Spencer's gift level toys, blah blah blah. Apparently, she had been hung up on some sexual experiences that happened in college that she's not comfortable talking about and wanted me to try them. But when I did, it made her feel awkward and guilty, that it made her think of other men while she was with me. What a load of crap. That's the biggest bunch of BS. But what's not BS is the 2 years the dead bedroom. Are we supposed to believe the gal who cheated on him left and right was the sausage queen of the dorm room when all those 20 years that they've been married or whatever, true and blue, never stepped out? I have a very hard time believing that, especially the 2 years there's a dead bedroom. But there's more in the comment section, which I'll read at the end of this, that will shed more light on this, so stick around. The fact that she's saying that these experiences were meaningless, but they're still impacting her marriage, tells me they meant more than she wants to say. Second, she admitted that she has been flirting with coworkers on business trips since the pandemic ended. She says she has never slept with anybody, but it got as far as going on a date with one of the male coworkers. That was the absolute deal breaker for me. Yeah, she never slept with any of them, because she's been a perfect angel all along. Notice how this information just trickles out? So they call it the trickle truth when the woman's saying things. We have told our children that we're getting a divorce. We told them it was due to some bad decisions that we made in college that we're having trouble moving past. What do you mean we? How about her? My 19-year-old, who is in college, the girl, asked me if I cheated on my wife while she was away at college. They always blame it on the guy. Isn't that funny? My wife got a little bit shaken up, but admitted to the kids that she's the one who cheated. We've agreed to not share any additional details with the kids. I reinforced that both of us will be there for the kids and that we're in therapy to help make sure we handle this in the best way for our family. I also told the kids that if they wanted to talk to either of us or a therapist about it, that I would fully support it. We started talking to a mediator about how to proceed with the divorce, and unless things change, we should be able to have an amicable divorce. Again, don't count your chickens, brother. We're both financially stable on our own, we have no major debts, and our kids are older, so custody isn't a major issue. There's been a shitty couple of months for me, or this has been a shitty couple of months for me, but I'm doing okay now, and honestly, I'm grateful that my last post blew up like it did, because it both validated some of my feelings, but also motivated me to go to counseling with my wife. Overwhelmingly, the comment section is on this guy's side here. Now, don't get me wrong, there were still some people that, it was in the past, or blah, blah, blah. He says, now a couple things to add in response to the comment section. Number one, I know she probably cheated more than she has admitted. Once our dead bedroom situation from years ago and a date with a coworker came up, I accepted this has probably been going on at some level for our entire marriage. I'm not glossing over that because I'm an idiot who believes that she's telling the whole truth. I have enough truth to know that this is the right decision, and it was more than just college. Adding more details won't change anything. I'm glad you can look at it like that. At this point, it's like, she's a cheater. I don't need to know any more details. We're getting divorced. End of story. Number two, in this post, the last post, and a lot of the messages, people kept asking if a hall pass would help fix things. It will not. I don't believe that more cheating will solve the trust issues. That may have worked for other people, but I really don't think this is going to help us. It's not going to help. He needs to get out. They're entirely different people with different values. He's been scammed and BS'd his entire life, his whole life that he spent with her. It's time to move on. And I guarantee you guys, she will move on real quick to being back to being the sausage queen. 3, my soon-to-be ex and our counselor know about the Reddit posts. I was upfront and with both of them about it. I've kept this anonymous enough that I doubt anybody would guess who I really am, and this has helped me process things. In all honesty, seeing both sides of the issue helped me, and reading the comments on the last post helped my wife better understand some of the frustration and hurt I feel. I don't think she understands. I think she just doesn't care. But she's trying to put on the act like she cares to get a more favorable outcome in the divorce, and probably a favorable outcome with the kids. I just don't trust her at all. Let's see, number 5. Number 4, I don't necessarily believe sharing all these details on Reddit is the healthiest way to handle a situation, but I don't have many close friends I can share with who aren't also mutual friends with my wife, so this is kind of a way to talk through it. So many guys say that because they know they can't talk with people they know because they're biased or they might blab their mouths off. Now up to his final update here. He says here, "Hey all, this is likely the final update on this account as things have mostly resolved. My wife and I have completed our divorce and everything is official." Damn, that was quick. I don't know how long this part here was posted after the other post, but I guess they sped things along. I guess it seems like they mostly, or say she laid her somewhat laid her cards on the table, and it's like, okay, we'll do the amicable divorce and speed things along. We had an uncontested amicable divorce with minimal disagreements. Our lawyers worked together to create the plan through mediation, and the judge signed off on it a few weeks ago. In the end, the actual divorce process was pretty straightforward. The only complication was that our 17-year-old was adamant about my having custody because the relationship with my ex-wife has really fallen apart as a result of this. There you go. That's why you're honest with the kids. The 17-year-old is the boy. Initially, my wife dug in her heels and was ready to give up on the uncontested marriage, but my son pretty much told her she could choose between letting him have a break for a few months to process and rebuild, or force him to live with her until he turns 18 and risk never seeing him again. Damn. Way to the son for laying down the law. I felt this was a bit harsh, but my wife backed down and we moved forward with my having primary physical custody until my son's birthday later this year. For my part, I've encouraged my son to be open to fixing things as the actions my ex took before he was born didn't change the 17 years that she cared for and loved him. This guy's being way too nice about his ex. He hasn't the bad mouth her, but remember, this is the same guy who, pretty much came to the conclusion that she was probably cheating on him during the marriage. And he's saying that she was a great mom to you in all those 17 years. If she's cheating on the husband, she's also cheating on the kids. I mean, come on here. The reason they're getting divorced and ending this family is because of her actions before the marriage and also no doubt during the marriage. Well, actually, yes, during the marriage. Remember, she was on a business trip and went on a date with a coworker where nothing happened, of course. No, this is her fault. Fortunately, as the divorce moved forward, he has been spending more time with my ex, and I'm optimistic they will work through this. In the end, we pretty much split our retirement and investments 50-50. For our house, my wife really liked the house and I did not. So she kept the house and most of the furnishings and took a mortgage to pay me back half of the equity and half of the estimated replacement value of the furniture. Pretty much all our other stuff was easily split up. My car and her car, my music gear and her hobbies, clothing, personal effects, etc. And we just agreed to sell it and split the resulting profit. Things were a bit easier for us because we had already documented most of our valuable items, electronics, for an insurance carrier that we added to our home insurance a few years ago. Well, you know what? I'm glad to hear that it was pretty darn smooth considering everything this guy's been through. Last thing he needed was this, going to war over a freaking, piece of furniture or something like that. Well, things have been going pretty well for me personally. Both of the kids spend most of their time at my place, and we're still very close, which was my biggest fear from the divorce. I have a new house that I really love, and I gave into the midlife crisis urge and traded my outdated minivan for a Lexus. I even had a woman at work, not a close coworker, invite me out for a coffee date. Well, there you go. I completely disagree. Don't go on a date with your coworker, man. I mean, that's nice he's getting asked out, and he knows that women find him attractive. That can help him boost his confidence, but don't date your coworkers. While I was upfront with her that I'm not ready to date just yet, she said she'd be happy to take a rain check and would be happy to go out with me when I'm ready. I'm honestly thrilled because she's really smart, has a great sense of humor, and our work positions at work are far enough apart that we don't really work directly with each other at all. I don't care. You're still working for the same company. Things don't go well. It can end badly for your job. You already have your marriage fall apart because of your wife's actions. You don't need to do anything to jeopardize your freaking career, dude. Don't date your fucking coworker. Appreciate being asked out, her being attracted to you, but that's that. Take your time. There's no rush. My ex and I are continuing to go through couples counseling together. We have transitioned into having closure on our marriage and making sure we maintain our relationship enough to be effective co-parents. While these sessions have been great to help me process things and keep things as healthy and positive as possible, given the circumstances, it has also reinforced that divorce was the right option. It was, man. It's clear from some answers in the sessions that my wife immediately started dating once the divorce papers and process started. So whatever love was there clearly was out the door already. Hear that? She's already back on that horse. Obviously riding Chad and Tyrone's horse. But here's the thing. She's in her early 40s. And if she has taken care of herself and she looks good for her 40s, she's going to have no problem with guys wanting to hook up with her. Let's be honest here. As long as she's taking care of herself, but in terms of actually a meaningful relationship, good luck finding guys around her age that wants to do that. That she would see as a catch. The guys that she might see as a catch around her age range will be looking for younger women, and she's about to find out. She could get guys in their 50s and 60s that might want to have a relationship with her, but she won't like the fact that they're in their 50s and 60s. But again, she'll have no problem with younger guys wanting to bang a cougar or a MILF or something like that. But it should be interesting to see if she wants relationships. But I'm not all surprised, because remember he's taking his time here a little bit. He told the coworker, give me a few months. That's what a mature adult would do to process, start to heal, reflect on things. What do women do? Boom, right back on it. But back to my speculation, this could have been the plan all along. It's still a possibility. They planned this whole thing. The party to reveal some things like they were drunk, and then put on him. He's the one that wanted the divorce, and now she's free as a bird. You never know. But our guy's free. It's clear from some answers in the sessions of my wife. All right, I read that part. I'm pretty sure the coworker she was just friends with dropped her off at a recent session. The fact that it doesn't even make me mad is a good sign that I was also probably done with the whole marriage. Yeah, he's indifferent already. He doesn't really care that she's dating. That's good. That's very good. In the end, it will take a long time for me to heal from the betrayal, but I feel like I'm making good progress, and I can honestly say the divorce was unquestionably the right decision. I probably cried more in the last 4 months than I have in the last 20 years, but for the last month or so, I feel generally good about myself and for the future for the first time in a long time. I'm enjoying having my own life, being busy, getting my 17-year-old ready for college in the fall, and looking forward to a coffee date with a smart, funny woman in a month or two. Smack! Don't date your coworker. But aside from that, good job, man. Good job for having the self-worth to end it with her, pushing through, not falling for her crap, and moving on. Again, could they have all set this whole thing up? It's possible. But regardless, he's a free man. He's better off regardless of the whole thing. Anyway, and let's just say it wasn't a setup. I stand by what I said in the last video, that if her friend who gave him the information here is remotely attractive and single, no boyfriend, nothing, you gotta bang her. Let it get back to the wife, because it will. She deserves that. It'll definitely ruffle her feathers. And by the way, guys, before I read a little bit more is some information I found in the comment section, which you might find interesting. I guarantee you, when things start to get difficult for her, particularly finding a relationship, a guy that, wants her more than just a piece of her, her 40-something ass, she'll be back to this guy, begging for a second chance. I guarantee it. That's usually how it goes. Now, some more information here. One guy asked him in the comment section, he asked him, I'm super curious to know what kind of sexual things she was hung up on from her past, but that she felt uncomfortable doing with you. This alone seems like a red flag. And he responds, I don't really want to dig into that too much. Right before the dead bedroom stuff started, she was asking to experiment with new stuff in the bedroom. It was mostly BDSM kind of stuff that was a little more intense that I was comfortable with. At the time, 50 Shades of Grey was popular, and she got into some other smutty kind of reading. I attributed the change in sex to that, but my guess is that some of the guys she was with in college were into BDSM type of stuff. Maybe it was a combination of the two. This is insult to injury, because not only were they banging her, but they were also, taking it to a whole new level. She has admitted to cheating during that time, but I'd be willing to bet the dead bedroom at home was because she found another person to do kinky shit with. Probably. Another thing he says here. Due to her career, she has 25 to 30% travel time, so it would be very easy for her to hide. At the same time, she was also working from home, remote, when she wasn't traveling, and I was in the office full time. She pretty much has a solo vacation for 1 to 2 weeks a month normally. Part of the reason I didn't really dig into this is that there wasn't really anything she would have to do to hide it. She traveled a lot, I trusted her, and she broke that trust. The specific amount the trust was broken is kind of irrelevant at this point. At this point, he's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. So, she travels all the time for business. And she mentioned that when she was on a business trip with a coworker, they went on a date. Isn't that usually what hookers say? It's a date? Another thing, he says here, to be honest, this is one parenting area that my wife and I have disagreed on. I say that any sexual experience should be physically, psychologically, and emotionally safe. You should use protection and not sleep with anybody who has a problem with it. You should feel safe saying no or stopping and not sleep with anybody who has a problem with it. You should be happy to have sex with a person or having sex with, and if you feel pressure to do it and feel okay with it, you should probably not be sleeping with them. I think that's a reasonable set of rules, but my wife has said it's okay to explore and thinks my rules are too much. After the past 6 weeks, I guess I know why we're different. On a related note, I really don't care if people have sex all willy-nilly as long as it's physically, psychologically, and emotionally safe. The number isn't the issue. The problem is when people trivialize the physical and mental consequences of sex. Now listen to this next part that deals with their daughter. This tells you what the wife is like. My wife definitely believes that unprotected sex is okay and has told our daughter that condoms are best, but there's backup plans if you get caught up in the moment. I don't have a problem with plan B or any of the reproductive choices my daughter may someday have to make, but I also think those should be backup when protection fails, not a first choice for protection. Yeah, great parenting, Mom. By the way, the daughter's now at school. The daughter's 19, the same age that the wife was doing her activities. This is interesting. He also says, as far as coerced sex goes, my wife believes that sometimes doing something uncomfortable, awkward, or scary helps you discover something you might like. In our marriage, she applied this mostly to encouraging our kids to try new things. But I don't think that's something you apply to sex. There's a big difference between trying something new with somebody you trust and sleeping with somebody you don't fully trust because it might be fun. Finally, my wife and I both drank quite a bit in college, and I have a feeling she was not exactly sober for many of her hookups. Well, there you go. Great parenting from Mom. So these two are completely incompatible. She is just, well, you heard it. And remember, guys, how in the first story I did earlier, how just nope. She didn't do anything wrong. It's his fault, blah, 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 blah. And finally now she's admitting to this whole thing, but then more and more stuff came out, and all the stuff he learned from her friends. So he absolutely had the right move to get rid of her. So I wish this guy all the best, and I hope he takes his time and does not date his freaking coworker. That's just dumb. You want to date anybody else? Knock yourself out, but don't jeopardize your job. Take it as a compliment that he's attractive, women like him, but that's that. Help with his confidence. And by the way, again, I got to mention this. You know, a lot of times when there's breakups, guys will be on their own for a while to reflect, to heal. That's the right way to go. Focus on themselves, their purpose, their grind, self-improvement. Women, boom, they're right back on that horse. That's how they deal with it. Instead of just dealing with their problems and figuring out where they went wrong, nope, they got to get right back on the horse. And, you know, that's why a lot of times you probably hear women give advice like, oh, get back to dating. No, that's not what you should do. So anyhow, that's that. I don't think there's any more updates here. I mean, you never know. One can happen down the road. And I do predict when things aren't as rosy for the wife, when she's now single, she'll come back. Because they always come back when things don't go well for them. And I can only imagine what it's going to be like with the kids with her going forward. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you find a good story you want me to cover, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.